Okay, today's lesson is on writing the persuasive conclusion. Our objective today is students will be able to write a proper conclusion using persuasive techniques for your argument. So in the lesson, I'm going to teach you what persuasive techniques are and how to write a proper conclusion so you can actually accomplish that goal. We will do those things by identifying 3 types of persuasive techniques, explaining 3 types of persuasive techniques, identifying the parts of a conclusion for argumentative writing, identify the persuasive technique you will use for your conclusion, and reflect on how you're doing with this process. You need your note packet out to write down notes on the persuasive techniques. Okay, when you look at the objective, writing a proper conclusion using persuasive techniques for your argument, what might get in the way of you meeting the objective today? Do you know what persuasive techniques are? Maybe you are not caught up with your work. And then number 2, what can you do to overcome that challenge? When you look at our success criteria, read over those again on your own. What might get in the way of you completing all success criteria today? And what can you do to overcome that challenge? All right. Ethos, pathos, and logos, understanding rhetoric. What in the world am I talking about? So, rhetoric. You'll notice on the slides, it will say where to write the notes. So, in red, it says write these notes here, has an arrow pointing. It says what is rhetoric? That is where you should be writing these notes on your note-taking sheet. Okay, rhetoric is the art of speaking or writing effectively. Think about what effectively means to you. If it's effective, what kind of writing would that be? So Aristotle is considered the father of rhetoric. He was a Greek philosopher and scientist. He's one of the great ancient philosophers. He tutored Alexander the Great, and he wrote a text on rhetoric in 350 BCE. So, according to Aristotle, there are 3 modes of persuasion. So, you're going to write it on your notes: ethos, pathos, logos. That is what Aristotle came up with. So, ethos, the appeal to ethics and credibility. So, it's based on the speaker or author. If the author is reliable and credible, the audience is more likely to buy into it. Is the author knowledgeable? Does the author appear to know what they're talking about? That's an ethos appeal. Pathos appeals to emotions based on how the text makes the reader or audience feel. So the way the text is written probably has a lot of emotional words in it. That's going to be pathos. Maybe it's playing on their sympathy for something, maybe their guilt for something. That would be appealing to emotions. I know those ads with puppies always get me. Lots of emotions with puppies or babies. Logos is the appeal to logic and reason based on facts and research and evidence. So, very logical. If you're a logical thinker, you're going to really like the logos appeal. So, how do the facts and evidence support the claim? The more facts and evidence you have, that's really going to appeal to people's logic and reason. Ethos is an effective argumentative and persuasive strategy because when the audience believes that the author is knowledgeable and genuine, the audience is more willing to listen and be persuaded. You all know that if it's someone you trust talking, you're more likely to buy into what they're saying. But if you don't trust them, you are not going to listen to them. When you are trying to determine if a writing or a video is ethos. You want to ask these questions. Does the writer speaker seem trustworthy? Does the writer speaker seem knowledgeable? How does the writer or speaker establish credibility and authority? So, what do they tell you in their writing or in the video to establish their credibility and authority on the topic? Example: Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from the Birmingham jail is effective because he established credibility as an African American male who was in jail. It was authentic and real. When a trusted doctor gives you medical advice, you follow it even if you don't understand the medical reasoning behind it because you trust the doctor. Go ahead and write one or both of these examples on your note sheet. Logos is an effective, argumentative, and persuasive strategy because when the audience is presented with factual, researched evidence supporting the claims, the audience is more likely to consider the claims valid. It is much more important in argumentative writing than it is in persuasive writing. So when you're arguing a point and you're trying to convince someone, the more facts and evidence you have to support you is going to make people believe what you're saying. You would ask these questions to determine if a writing or a video you're watching is logos appeal. What claim is the author speaking, arguing? Is the author or speaker's evidence relevant? Does the author or speaker include logical fallacies in his or her argument? What evidence does the author speaker use to support his or her claim? Here's an example. Any argument that includes logical and relevant evidence, so research, data, facts, statistics, events, etc., includes logos. Write it on your note page now. Pathos is an effective persuasive strategy because the audience may accept claims based on how the text makes them feel rather than factual data. So pathos is much more important in persuasive writing than it is in argumentative writing. Pathos should be used sparingly in argumentative writing. That means you should probably not depend on this strategy for your argument and debate. You should ask these questions to determine if pathos is being used. Does the author speaker appeal to your emotions? What feelings do you feel when reading the text? How did the writer establish or create a relationship with you? So, if the writer is trying to get your sympathy, or if they're trying to have a mutual understanding with you in some way, that's creating a relationship with you. Here's an example. Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA, became very popular after the September 11th attacks. People were very patriotic. They were feeling very united as a nation. And so that song, God Bless the USA, just became very popular because of how people were feeling after that time. Empathizing with a friend who's experienced a breakup. So if you've gone through a breakup, empathizing with a friend during their breakup, there's a lot of pathos going on there. Write down the example now. Okay, right now I want you to try to determine if it's ethos, pathos, or logos. You cannot put a price on your safety. That is why you should buy the state-of-the-art home security system. Which one is it? It is pathos. So they're trying to appeal to your feelings of safety. So in order for you to feel safe, you should buy this home security system. All right, which one is this? Our company has been around for almost 150 years. We are the industry's leader when it comes to engines. That would be ethos. So they're saying they've been around for so long, they are trustworthy. They're the industry's leader, so they are the trustworthy people. Which one is it? As a country, we should invest in public education because children are our future. We need to invest in our children, in our future. That is ethos. So they're saying children are the future. We need to invest in them in our future. That is building a trust with people. So that makes sense that we should do it. Public education is important to people. So they are building trust by saying we should invest in something important to everyone. Okay, despite consumer resistance, companies continue to test products on animals because studies show that animal testing is safe and reliable. Which one do you think it is? It is logos. So they're saying that there are studies that show animal testing is safe and reliable, even though consumers, people who buy the products, are not happy about animal testing. Companies are using studies and research that show that it is safe and reliable. Okay, the young mother has trouble providing her small children with clothing and food. She's an excellent mother who does her best, but she has trouble making ends meet. We're missing some of that there on the slide. This is pathos. So we are feeling empathy for this young mom. We are feeling bad for her because she's having trouble getting her kids clothing and food. She's a great mom, but she's just having a hard time making ends meet, which means making enough money to provide for everyone in the family. It's a big emotional appeal. After looking at several studies that highlight the benefit of later start times for teenagers, the school district has decided to push back high school start times to 9 a.m. This has not really happened here for us, but this is just an example. This would be logos. So they're looking at studies and research and making their decision based on that. That's a logical appeal. Okay, adding in other persuasive techniques. So you definitely want to make sure you have more fact-based evidence for argumentative writing. But it is helpful to know persuasive techniques. The more you can put those things in there, it is going to be good. People want to listen to you when you use them. So this is the list of persuasive techniques. You need to make sure you get it on your note page. Facts and statistics, celebrity testimonials, bandwagon approach, fear-mongering, glittering generalities, loaded words, expert testimonial, and repetition. I'm going to tell you what these things are as well. You will need to write that down as well. So, facts and statistics. Researched information and evidence gives the author credibility and provides logical connections for the audience. Make sure you write all that down so you know what each of these are. That will help you use them properly. Celebrity testimonials. When a celebrity endorses a product rather than an expert, people are more likely to act on emotions. If you use the same face wash as a celebrity, you too will look that great. I'm sure a lot of people think that. Bandwagon approach. If everyone else is doing something or owns a particular item, you should too, so that you are not left behind. So jumping on the bandwagon, that's like something that people have used forever. It's a really common way, and people definitely buy into it all the time. Fear mongering. Creating fear in someone to convince them to believe in something they otherwise might not, or to convince them to buy a certain product. So you're creating fear to push someone to believe something or buy something. Glittering generalities, using positive and glittery loaded words so that people feel good about their beliefs, purchases, and opinions. So the words you use about them believing something or purchasing something makes them feel good about it. Loaded words. When an author, speaker, or advertiser carefully chooses their words, which is called diction, to create a certain and oftentimes emotional response from the audience. So loaded words. The words are very heavy, very carefully chosen. They are intended to create a specific response from an audience that is often emotional. Expert testimonial. An author or speaker establishes credibility when he or she is an expert in the field. Repetition. Repeating words and phrases over and over again will help people remember things, and it may also evoke certain feelings in the audience. Just depends on what they're repeating. So it's either to help them remember or help them feel something. All right, persuasive techniques in relation to ethos, pathos, and logos. So, logos, a sensible and logical argument built on relevant and sufficient evidence. If you're using facts and statistics or claims based on general logic, that is logos. Pathos, arguments built in a way that will evoke certain emotions in the audience. So, all of these listed are pathos: celebrity testimonials, bandwagon approach, fear mongering, glittering generalities, loaded words, and repetition. Ethos, a well researched and thoroughly developed argument. So, expert testimonial, trustworthiness, credibility, that is ethos. And appeals, these three rhetorical appeals make up the rhetorical triangle. So, all of these are rhetorical appeals: ethos, logos, pathos. All right, so the parts of your conclusion. What do you need to include in a proper argumentative essay conclusion? If you look at this little clip from an outline, it shows the conclusion. That's like your closing statements. If you are an attorney in a court of law, it is your last hurrah, okay? So you want to restate your claim. You already have that. You just need to say it a little bit different. Summarize your reasons and evidence. You already have reasons and evidence now. And then you have a call to action or a very strong statement to end it with. Let's look at an example. So you're using information from your introduction, but you have to put it in different words. So when we look at our claim and reasons for the dog and cat argument, this says, even though dogs typically cost more money, they are better pets than cats because they are more social, more protective, and they keep you active. So remember, that was the beginning. It was in the introduction. That's what the whole paper is going to talk about. Is there's going to be a paragraph about dogs are more social, there's a paragraph about they're more protective, and there's a paragraph about they keep you active. So let's look at how this would go in a conclusion. So in that dog cat example, if we're going to restate the claim or thesis in a different way, we can say overall dogs are better pets than cats due to their social and protective behavior as well as their ability to keep you more active. A lot of those words are the same, but it is worded differently. You want to summarize your evidence. As mentioned before, dogs are more social than cats and they have bigger brains, which also makes them smarter than cats. Additionally, due to their protective behavior, dogs are more likely to stop an intruder from entering your house. Lastly, dogs do take more time and energy than cats, but this helps the owner to lead a more active lifestyle. All of this was covered in the whole paper before. You didn't see the whole paper, but summarizing the evidence. So what key details do you have? What can you summarize here in your conclusion? And then you need a final statement. So a very strong statement, something to catch the reader's attention again, but close everything up nicely. In conclusion, if a person wants a friendly and protective pet, then they should have a dog as a pet. There you go. Simple. Don't overthink it. You should already have everything you need to write your conclusion. So right now, tell me, what do you need to include in your argumentative conclusion? Remember, there are 3 parts. I just went over them. When you think about your claim and your details, your main ideas, what persuasive technique will work well with your claim and reasons? Remember the things that work better for argumentative. We're not doing persuasive, so think argumentative. Look at your note page. Tell me now what you think. Okay, you need to add the conclusion to your outline and get it turned in. So add the details of your conclusion to your outline now. It's due today. So remember, for your next Roman numeral, which may not be a 6, and you need to restate your claim, so restating your claim in different words, summarize your reasons and evidence, okay, and then a call to action or a strong statement for your very last sentence. And then you also need to tell me how you're doing with this. Are you confused about something? Are you clear? Do you have everything you need? How did this go today?